He's about coming down here to see me now. Well, if you want to speak, you have to fill out a form. Okay, that's okay.
you.
Okay, we are all back. We're going to call this meeting to order. Thank you very much for attending today. We have one discussion item. Item number one, I do want to bring up some last minute, I guess, things we have to deal with. As of yesterday-ish, sometime noon or afternoon or morning, we did get a late submitted map by an organization called Maldiv. They are requesting another map to be considered. At this point, we cannot add it to our agenda today because the agenda has already been posted. What we're going to ask after we finish our deliberation between the two maps we have in front of us today is that staff goes and does their due diligence on that for our follow-up meeting and do also what was that study called that we need to?
A racially polarized voting study.
That study. And hopefully have that back by the 7th as well. And so I'm sure we can't comment anything else on that map today because it's not agendized. And we'll have to worry about that on the 7th. So today we're going to start up and we'll start the opening, open the public hearing. We have our consultants, Mr. Rexroad and team. Welcome.
Mr. Chairman, we can present to you the slight modifications we made to the two maps that you asked us to make the changes with since last week when we were here, but they're just the changes you asked for last week.
Exactly. So just if you could throw them on the screen, that'd be wonderful.
Okay, so starting with map 2, the request was to clean up, with map 2 was some other minor changes, but this is the map 2. I had to double check to make sure there was no issues with AQMD and then also with the fire protection district and these things. Looked into it all. We're okay with everything. Again, this one, excuse me, in this map, the AQMD line is coming through, and I'll put it up so you can see it. It's coming through the 3rd district. And so it's only the 1st and 3rd districts are affected by this one. The 2nd district still stays well below it. So not a problem there. Any questions on the small modifications for this map?
Nope. Thank you. We'll go to map 3.
And then the map 3, again, this is some small modifications just to look at the AQMD line. I ended up taking a couple small census blocks out, but there wasn't really a population to them. It was, almost empty. You can see here, this is this shaded line. This is the AQMD line, and this is the proposed supervisor district line. So you can see it is below it, and it stays below it the entire time, and then stays below it throughout. So you still only have the 1st and the 3rd districts affected by it, not the 2nd. So any questions on this map?
No, I will ask you just to restate everything. Considering we had a 16th-week process with commissions and countless hours of maps and studies over lots of public input, the two maps we're considering today fit all the legal requirements and are still blessed in every category we think we need to be blessed with, right?
That is correct. The major change made to the 2nd map was the kind of the Glen Helen area, and then moving San Bernardino, including the Yamava, I hope I said that right, San Manuel area into the 3rd district. You can see the line was moved over. And then in the Glen Helen area, it came up and grabbed the rest of Glen Helen, including this area in the between. And that was pretty much a equal exchange. I think it was like a 300-person difference. So it wasn't a major change to the overall population deviation on this.
Great. Any other questions for our consultant team at this point? Or staff? If not, we'll open up the public comments. First, I have Karen Lees. And then Darcy Clapp. So, Karen, you're up there. And then Darcy, you're on deck.
Hello.
Hello.
I just want to say I'm an 18-year resident of Devore Heights, and I'm happy with our current district lines and with our supervisor. I am definitely not in favor of the redistricting. Ms. Rutherford has been a longtime friend of ours. Sorry. She's been a longtime friend of ours, and we'd like to keep it that way. We're a special community, and we like being separated from the city. That's why our motto is rural living at its finest. I am concerned that by redistricting us, our new supervisor will try to make us more city and affect our quality of life. And so we would like to stay within the district that we are. And if there is going to be some redistricting, we also want to make sure that DeVore stays together as a community, not divide us in half and put us in two different districts, because we are a small community and we would like to stay together. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Darcy, clap. Then Jeff Benuevas, Diz.
Hi, I'm Darcy Clapp. DeVore on the map. Now might have changed a little bit, but DeVore on the map cuts Deer Crest into another district than DeVore. So we're just asking that the DeVore tract, DeVore as an entity, stays complete and not that one street that has always been off to another district. Have to say, we've always enjoyed Janice, but Janice leaves us, we understand that. And that our District 2 has always benefited us. They've always listened to us, and we don't really want to be placed into kind of like a larger conglomerate, but we know that the districts are being cut up and they're getting a little bit larger. We just are asking that DeVore stay as an entity whole, that one street isn't cut and put into another district. And we thank Janice for everything that she's ever done for us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And let me just break here before we call Jeff. Stephen, can you please let us know what are today's agenda items? It means basically we don't make any changes. We select either 2 or 3.
Yes, what's before the board is the opportunity to conduct this hearing and to give direction to staff that would result in a single redistricting map for future consideration at a subsequent public hearing.
So I think in non-attorney words, we've already, at the last meeting, we were able to move things around a little bit. And what we're trying to do is select one of the 2 maps today.
Correct.
So I'm sorry, our next speaker, is it Jeff?
Jet Benavidez.
Okay, I wasn't no, it was 2 Fs or 2 Ts.
Hello, supervisors. My name is Jet Benavidez. I'm a resident of District 2, and I'm here to speak in favor of keeping communities together and whole. I'm a strong supporter of keeping communities whole and intact. That includes keeping all of Fontana and Rancho Cucamonga together in District 2. These 2 communities have a strong bond and unbreakable economic ties. We must keep all of Rancho Cucamonga and Fontana together in District 2. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Victor Hernandez, and then Gregory Rice.
Good afternoon, Chairman Hagman and supervisors. My name is Victor Hernandez, and I'm a proud resident of District 2. I please urge the Board of Supervisors to consider implementing Map 2 as our new district boundaries. This is what a fair map looks like. It upholds the spirit of keeping communities together and is truly reflective of how neighboring communities should be grouped. District 2 is the perfect example of how we can produce fair maps and keep cities whole because we keep all of Fontana and Rancho Cucamonga together. Once more, I urge the Board of Supervisors to adopt Map 2. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you for your comments, Gregory Rice, and then John Hung.
Yes, I've worked with supervisors in all the districts. I've worked with some of you and had meetings with you, and I really like the way the map, the revised map, totally revised map, brings all the mountains together. It allows the supervisors and their staff to spend more time on specific district issues. There's always countywide issues, but then there's specific district issues. And by dividing all the issues up between all the districts, it's 1/5 of the time you can spend on issues. For example, in the mountains, you have snow plowing. At the same time, in the low desert, you have the washouts in the debris areas. So roads wouldn't be used for weeks at a time sometimes. That's different than if you go to Ontario or if you go to San Bernardino area. They don't have snow plows. So why should they have time spending on snow plows? The same thing in the North Desert. People don't know it. There's areas where there's blowing sand that's enough that it buries houses in communities. And people can't use their houses for years to get it cleared. why should the other districts have to deal on issues like blowing sand? So the the revised map number 2, the first one, is the one that I support because it allows the time and the effort of the supervisors to do more like the vision asks and improve the quality of life by spending more time on the district issues and then having it run by a sounding board of the rest of the Board of Supervisors to say, hey, these reasonable actions, let's put the resources to get that done and allow the administration to run the county while the Board of Supervisors and the staff would have more time dealing with the people in their specific district over issues that are in that district. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. John Hung.
Good afternoon. Thank you very
Doug.
much for inviting me. My name is John Hong. I'm the director of TSAA and also ambassador of Chamber of Commerce. We represent Chamber of Commerce, our back wall over here. We're here for One Fontana. I lived in Fontana for 20 years, have a business in Fontana. My kids go to school in Fontana. Lived in there, like I said, for 20 years and then watched the city grow. And we definitely like to see it combine the district together as we, Chamber of Commerce, as One Fontana. Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to speak.
Thank you. We have Doug next and then Janice.
Thank you for the opportunity. I'll surprise all those who know me by being brief. I'm here to speak in favor of Plan 2 because I think it's very important to keep communities intact, and Rancho Cucamonga and Fontana should remain intact, and so I'm in favor of Plan 2. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments, Janice. Then Karen Solbaum.
And I'm Janice Hauser. That was my husband. I'm in charge of keeping him under control and limiting his talking.
You did a great job there. So
Yeah. So I'm in favor of Plan 2, just like my husband, for the same reason. We want to keep these two communities together. I hope that I do not lose Dawn and gain Mr. Baca. But Mr. Baca, we will be your loyal opposition if that happens. And you can talk to Dawn, but we do have things that we can work together on. So anyway, I love Dawn.
thank you for your comments. Karen, and then Kristen Holtgren.
Hi, I'm back again. Devore community would like to stay in the 2nd district. Therefore, map 3 would support our decision and we highly recommend it. Devore is a unique community that is like none other. From the wildfires to the floods, we come together in times of need or fellowship. We enjoy our rural living and want this community to stay that way as a whole, complete community. Each one of our community members are important to us. We too have worked hard with the 2nd district to build a working relationship. They understand our way of life, helping our community stay safe and enjoy this way of life. It is in our best interest to be a part of a district that puts the needs of their people first before big businesses. As we see these large developments popping up all around us, can you imagine our concerns of being ignored once again as the county puts the needs of these big developments before the people they represent? As I said before, recall our extensive business we had with the Board of Supervisors and the Live Nations contract having raised at the Glen Helen Amphitheater. And Live Nations' breach of that contract. We had to fight for the Devore community to have a traffic plan, be protected by the mob of ravers, remove the 2 a.m. end time, and more. It was our 2nd district and 1st district only that supported us to end that contract that they breached. As you draw your lines to fit your demands, we respectfully ask you to remember each one of those numbers you calculate are people and families. And we come here today to represent our Devore community and our people and families that live here, and to put a face on those numbers you calculate. It is map 3 that supports us, and if there is any tweaking that needs to be done, make sure that Devore stays intact as a whole and no line divides us. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Krista Holtgren. Then Maria Hernandez.
Thank you. My name is Christian Halgren. I am a resident of Devore for 12 years now. And honestly, I don't care what the maps are. I just care about my community. And what I'm looking at is Devore. So I'm in favor of map 3. The community of Devore has been nicely served by District 2, and they understand the passions of our community. There's a street called Deercrest. It's on the east side of Devore, and we want to keep that as part of DeVore. It doesn't make sense to split us up. We have the DeVore Firehouse, the Community Church of DeVore, the social app next door, Thanksgiving potlucks, Christmas parades, all within the nooks of our hills. If you look at that map, the hills are split. So we want to keep DeVore together. Why are we trying to split? For future development, for political reasons? Whatever the reason, it is not the interest of the people. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Maria Hernandez. Then Joaquin Castelos.
Buenas tardes, miembro de la Junta de Supervisores de SB y comunidad. Gracias por permitirme la oportunidad de hablar hoy. Mi nombre es María Elena y he sido residente de Bloomington, Bloomington, California durante 12 años. Estoy hablando hoy para brindar comentarios sobre los mapas preliminares de la redistribución de distritos de supervisión revisados que
Excuse me
incorporan...
one second. I'm going to get you a translator, okay? I know enough Spanish to understand a little bit, but not all that. So let's get someone else to help you.
Okay.
You're volunteering for us? Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Sorry.
No
A
problem.
little speak English. Buenas tardes, miembro de la Junta de Supervisores B y comunidad. Gracias por permitirme la oportunidad de hablar hoy.
Good afternoon, Board of Supervisors and community. Thank you for the opportunity for allowing me to speak today.
Mi nombre es María Elena Hernández y soy residente de Bloomington, en Bloomington, California desde hace 12 años.
My name is Marilena Hernandez, and I've been a resident of Bloomington for over 12 years.
Estoy aquí para brindar comentarios del día de hoy sobre los mapas preliminares de la redistribución de distritos de la supervisión revisados que incorporan las revisiones solicitadas para la Junta de Supervisor.
I'm here to make a comment over the maps that on the redistribution and
Para brindar comentarios sobre los mapas preliminares.
yeah, I'm here to make comments over the preliminary maps that have been brought forth by the Board of Supervisors.
En nombre de Brown and Black Redistricting Alliance, una coalición de muchas de CBO.
I'm here speaking for the Black and Brown Redistricting Alliance that is part of a lot of CBOs and community groups.
Grupos y comunitarios y miembros de la comunidad nos solidarizamos y apoyamos plenamente la propuesta de mapa que MALDEF, Fondo Educativo y de Defensa Legal México Estadounidense, ha presentado en San Bernardino.
I'm here to support the maps that MALDEF presented in favor, the maps that MALDEF presented.
Fondo Educativo y Defensa Legal México Estadounidense.
The Mexican American Legal Defense
México Estadounidense.
Educative Fund.
Y ha presentado a San Bernardino la Junta de Supervisores para su consideración.
That has been presented to the Board of Supervisors for your consideration.
Nos preocupa profundamente que la Junta no haya considerado el cambio.
It worries me very deeply that the Board of Supervisors has not considered these maps.
Y el aumento en las poblaciones latinas, negras, afroamericanas, asiáticas y otras minorías.
And the growth of the Latino,
Negros, afroamericanos, asiáticos.
African American, Asian, and other minorities that have grown with the population.
Y se está inclinando hacia una selección de un mapa que refleje y mantenga la adopción actual del mapa.
And to not have these changes reflected in the map and the adoption of the current maps.
La propuesta de MALDEF
The proposition of MALDEF
incluye 2 distritos,
includes 2 districts,
latinos fuertes
VRA, strong Latino VRA districts
que reflejan la población actual
and 2 districts, people of color, that reflect the current population
y garantizarán una representación equitativa para estas comunidades.
and guarantees a equal representation for these communities.
Además, la propuesta de mapa de MALDEF
Furthermore, the proposition of the map of MALDEF
abarca e incluye la mayoría de las comunidades de interés.
includes the majority of the communities of interest
Que hemos reunido a través de este largo proceso.
that we have reunited with this long process.
Al mismo tiempo
At the same time
que priorizamos
that we prioritize
y cumplimos con la ley de derechos electorales.
and
Cumplimos con la ley de derechos electorales.
Sorry, I just don't know that word. And we align ourselves with the laws of the electoral rights, I think,
Y la ley Fair Maps.
and the law of the fair maps.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Joaquin, you're up there and you did a great job. Thank you. Your turn then, Jane Hunt Rubel.
I'm sorry, you guys should have a translator next time. Dear members of the San Bernardino County Board of Supervisors, my name is Joaquin Castillejos. I've also been a resident of Bloomington for over 13 years. I'm here on behalf of the Brown and Black Redistricting Alliance, a coalition of many CBOs, community groups, and community members. We stand in solidarity and in full support with the MAP proposal MALDEF, Mexican American Legal Defense and Educational Fund, that has been submitted to the San Bernardino Board of Supervisors. We are deeply concerned that the board has not considered the shift and increase in Latino, Black African American, Asian, and other minority populations, and is leaning toward a selection of a map that reflects and keeps the current map adoption. MALDEF's proposal includes 2 strong Latino VRA districts and 2 people of color districts that reflect the current population and will ensure equitable representation for these communities. Additionally, MALDEF's maps proposal encompasses and includes the majority of the community of interest we have gathered through this lengthy process, while prioritizing and complying with the Voting Rights Act and Fair Maps Act. The Brown and Black Redistricting Alliance strongly suggests and requests that the board considers MALDEF's map proposal and adopts these maps for reasons stated above and to address the concerns of the community we serve while complying with federal and state laws. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Jane Hunt Rubel and Peter Garcia.
Good afternoon, board members. I'm not really prepared for that. Because I don't have a computer at home, so I went to the library yesterday and I noticed this was on there and I clicked on the map thing, but it wasn't working. So I was hoping when I come to this meeting, like at the Planning Commission hearing, they usually have the maps and everything out on the table. Now I was told I have to go up to the clerk of the board. So I don't know what the thing, I'm really interested in this because I live in the community of Musqueam, which we're under the sphere of influence, SPEAR, from San Bernardino City. And it really concerns me because I know San Bernardino City is doing their ward, their district thing too. And so it really concerns me because I love the community of Devore. And I was thinking about moving up there until I went up to the Coffee with the Cop last week, and they're having the same problems that we have in our little community also. And it really upsets me that the supervisors, they usually vote in lockstep whenever, even if it's not in their district, when a development comes up or a warehouse issue comes up, there's one person maybe that will say something against it, but one vote does not count. And so I'd like to see a more, no matter who's the districts are changed, I'd like to see the board members, when anything about environmental issues or whatever comes up, development, that they wouldn't just really listen to the people that live in those communities. Because I really care about Muscoy, and last year they almost did away with, well, there's this Vulcan project, which I heard about, and I went running to the meetings last year, and that part is still Muscoy. But we're segmented now. Except for the Cajon and Lytle Creek, we're surrounded by San Bernardino City now because they keep on, like the Cimarron Ranch back in the 80s, they approved that because they went to the city because the developer was only allowed to stick with the, so we're gradually being eaten away, with this project. So I haven't looked at any of the maps, but it sounds like, I guess, the third one is the choice. Like I said, I wish I had access to look at the maps. And so I hope you have a second hearing on this because maybe it'll give me a chance for people like me, because I really love my community and I just don't want to be gobbled up by San Bernardino City. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Peter Garcia, and then Honorable Mayor Aquilino Warren.
Thank you. Good afternoon, honorable board members. Peter Garcia, council member, City of Fontana. I'm here to advocate to keep Fontana in one district. Fontana is a definition of a community of interest. With a population of 67% Latino residents, Fontana is one of the largest and most diverse cities in the county. Therefore, the city should not be split, which would result in significantly diluting the Latino vote. Keeping Fontana whole will result in promoting the opportunity for diversity on the Board of Supervisors. I respectfully ask that you consider supporting MAP 2 version 2 when it's time to cast your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Aquilino Warren. And
Good
then
afternoon,
Nancy
Honorable.
Starbuck, sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Good afternoon, Honorable Board members. This is a pleasure to come before you today. Excuse my dress. I've been traveling for 36 hours, but our region is worth it, and so are all of you up there. You are having an opportunity to not only talk about what we look like today, but what we're going to look like as a county in the future. And the future is bright for this county. We have our issues just like any other county, but we're working on all of them, and we're making it a pass for solutions. With Fontana's population coming in fast, the second largest and the most ethnically diverse community in the region, we're also the economic powerhouse. We're providing jobs for residents just not in Fontana, but throughout the region, if not the state. We're also providing recreation. We have over 48 parks. We don't stand at the gate and say, if you're not a Fontana resident, you can't use it. We make sure that our parks are open to the community. In addition, this would be a barrier not to make us one Fontana. We have a saying in Fontana, one team, one direction. I'd like to add one Fontana, and we need your help to do that. We are also not only just the powerhouse and the economic job center, we also weathered so well during COVID-19. We did not stop with our development. We did not stop with our offerings, and we continue to partner with social groups in our city to make sure that all of our diverse population is taken care of. In addition, we want to continue to work with all the cities and make sure that all of their needs are met. When I go back to DC, such as you do, I just don't go for Fontana. I go because the stronger Fontana is, the stronger our region will be. And it is a regional effort on all our parts. So tonight, and it's almost night in my mind, coming back from East, I would like to ask that you approve MAP 2. The staffer in me loves to keep it simple. MAP 2, version 2, that keeps the one Fontana, that continues the powerhouse that this region needs, and in addition, it allows us to work closer with you. I thank you for your time that you have given me, and I hope that we have your support for one Fontana within this great region. Thank you.
Thank you, Aquanetta. And I was going to say, I hope you brought back someone from the White House when you were there yesterday or whatever it was. Betsy Starbuck?
Hi, I'm Betsy Starbuck. I'm president of the League of Women Voters of the San Bernardino area. And I'm here today to urge you to not adopt map 2 or 3 today, but to act with judicious nature and consider the MALDEF map that has been submitted, albeit too late for today's agenda. There's been 2 primary redistricting alliances working in San Bernardino County. One is the IE Redistricting Hub, and the other one is the Brown and Black Alliance, Redistricting Alliance. And the League of Women Voters, because we're nonpartisan and because we work with everybody, we were working with both groups. Because of some personality differences, those groups were kind of sending in competing maps. But thanks to you and your proposal for map 2 and 3, they have come together to oppose. And they have agreed to sign on together to the map that MALDEF has proposed. So I urge you to not adopt that today and to give due consideration to the MALDEF map that's been submitted. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. That's all the requests to speak at this time, so I'm going to bring it back. We'll close the public portion of this part and bring it back to the dais for discussion. I'm going to take the chair prerogative here and say a few comments. I understand that redistrict is very important for the future of the county of San Bernardino. And the county, the process we sat was 4 months, granted COVID gave us our maps late, but we had 4 months, 16 different community meetings to get the input. Out of the 3 maps proposed by the last meeting for us, we whittled it down to 2 for this meeting. To come in the day before the final adoption of map kind of circumvents that whole process. You had lots of time to submit comments and have the commissioners hear all and have our consultants and the legal team able to look at everything, analyze everything, not just on one primary qualification, but on multiple criteria that both the state and the federal government requires us to look at. We will look at the map that was submitted yesterday, and we will bring that up at our next meeting on the 7th, I believe it is, and we'll do diligence and we'll include an extra study. But I personally don't like the circumvention of the process that was set up to be open to all the residents of San Bernardino County, not a particular group or another. But that's my commentary. We will take a look at it. We want to do what's all best for San Bernardino County going forward for all the criteria going. But we have 2 maps here today on today's agenda that we're here to deliberate after last meeting's deliberation, which again, there's no comments there for those 2 maps or the 3 maps we had to look at. And as far as the 3 choices we had. And I just want to make sure we had concerns about those maps last week. Were they addressed?
Yes, but I do have additional questions that were brought
absolutely.
up today.
Please do.
So if you wouldn't mind, if you can bring up map 2.2 and 3.2 and show them together as they relate to DeVore Heights or DeVore area. It looks like map 3 includes one little adjacent area, but it doesn't really include all of DeVore. Supervisor Rutherford, is that correct? So DeVore gets split anyway?
Yeah, so this is map 2. So you can see this is a little section of DeVore that's split off. And then in map 3, you can see it cuts off a little bit right over here.
But the whole community of DeVore is outlined there.
This isn't an outline per se. You can kind of see this area here. This is the DeVore.
No matter how you slice it, it's going to be in 2 supervisorial districts.
Can you show the current map? Because it's already split a bit with the current map.
This is the current map and the map 3 are very, very similar in that line. And so it's currently split. There's a section over here, as I stated, that is part of DeVore. And I believe they had a street name, but I don't remember the name straight.
Deercrest. But I will say they haven't liked this split for the last decade either. They would prefer to be.
At the risk of the chairman not being thrilled with me, do we have any idea what the entire population of DeVore is that would keep them whole and within the second district.
Without looking at the mapping tool itself, I couldn't comment on that number. I don't imagine it's very large, considering the area that we're talking about doesn't have very many streets on it. So I can't imagine it's a huge number. One more time? 843 residents is what they're saying is in the area. That is not included in the section that is drawn out. And that is that in the map 2 or the map 3 version? Is that in the map 2 or the map 3 version? Oh, the entire community is 843. I'm sorry, my apologies. I thought she was referring to the area cut off. The entire community is 843. So if we're talking a section of it, it's going to be a fraction of 843.
And let me back up a little bit and have you ask more questions. I want to know about process because we have deadlines, and that's hence why we had 2 special meetings on top of the other 2 meetings we already had. We have to have, and maybe Stephen can go through a backward count. By statute, we have to have certain things done by certain dates. What are those?
There are several deadlines. We have to have our ordinance adopting the final map by December 14. Prior to that, ordinance has to be posted for 3 days, Julie? Posting the ordinance prior to the meeting is 3 days?
Hi, this is Julie Serber with the County Council's office. Yes, you would need to post the ordinance and the map at least 3 days before December 14th.
And if everything goes bad and we don't pull this off, what happens? Let's start off that way, by the 14th.
The deadline to adopt a map is December 15th. If the board does not adopt by that date, then it goes over to the Superior Court to draw the maps for the county.
Okay. So by December 11th, we have to have posted. You talk about the 10 days to have the surveyor survey the maps.
Yes, there's one other logistical issue is that we have to have an ordinance ready, and as part of that ordinance, we have to have the legal meets and bounds descriptions of these new districts. That will involve the county surveyor's office, and they've represented that in the past that's taken up to 10 days to do so.
And then first and second readings.
Well, if we, generally, our ordinances, we do 2 readings. We are examining the possibility that, given the nature of the redistricting statutes, that we could pass this on the same day ordinance without a second reading.
Okay, if we do 2-day readings, hence why we have December 7th and 14th.
Right.
Both hearings. So we're trying to get this done by our next meeting.
That's very
So
compressed.
if there is a minor deviation, I just want to make sure that we even have the opportunity to make further revisions today before we get down too much. Like, can we push DeVore on the 1? Do we have time to do that? That's what I'm asking.
I believe we can. I assume they can turn those around.
If it didn't change the deviation, could you just, in whatever map we choose, include them together?
It's not going to markedly change the deviation. It wouldn't bring it above the 5% margin we've had in the past. We've been our goal, so.
If the board can provide direction to the consultants today on this issue, I think we could stay on schedule.
Chairman, is it worth to provide direction and to the consultants? Do you have the ability to, even if the chair decided to take a short recess, to put something together for the board's consideration?
I know. You're saying you're confident that you could do either one, either map or 2, you can make that whole.
Yeah, I can do that, and I could do it.
And we can have it posted by the 7th, so I don't need to take a break on that. Colonel?
Can you review the bidding one more time? I feel like Punch's Pilot. I want to make sure I got it right here.
Well, so we're having a special meeting next Wednesday, Colonel.
Okay, so that's when we're gonna, the bloodletting will occur?
No, this is an inside joke because Colonel is very, he's
I-
not going to be here. No.
No, I'm gonna be here next Wednesday.
Oh, okay. No, we're okay. So what we're saying is if we
It's
pick
only
either,
Day before Thanksgiving, right?
yeah, on next Thursday, I mean, yeah.
Okay, Thursday is better for me.
Okay. So, so if we pick either 2 or 3 today with the direction of including all of DeVore in one of those maps, the consultants are good with that to bring back on the 7th.
But right now, we're talking about 2 or 3, right?
Correct.
And then, okay, I'm going to throw in my 2 cents for map 2. I think part of the rationale, of course, was keeping communities together. That's why I made that comment about Punch's Pilot, I guess, where you start splitting, because a lot of us here were mayors 100 years ago, not as great as the mayor of Fontana. But you know that when you split a community, sometimes it weakens your power that you have in trying to get certain things accomplished and what have you for your city or municipality. So that I'm going to put my 2 cents in. I used to represent a lot of the Mountain District. This is just one area. The Mountain Districts are kind of funny sometimes, and I think they need that area. I remember when the 330 was Running Springs was cut off. So I'll shut up and just put my 2 cents in for map 2.
So is that a motion for 2? I don't know. No, Supervisor Rutherford.
I think your vice chair had a.
I do have a couple of comments. Some of the public comments that came in over the course of the last week were asking about Yermo, Daggett, and Newberry Springs. The maps that were provided weren't clear to some of the public on those communities, Linwood, Barstow. So I just thought I would clarify. Map 2.2 that we're looking at, the 3rd district in particular that I currently serve, would encompass Barstow as well as the Linwood community, Yermo, Daggett, and Newberry Springs. In the proposed map 3.2 would be together, whether they would be in the 1st or the 3rd, and I think that was their concern, that they remain whole. So I just wanted to clarify that. And I was wondering if we could talk about the Hispanic representation between map 2.2 and 3.2, if you could let us know which provides a better representation of Hispanics for the Voting Rights Act.
I would defer to your VRA counsel on that.
Well, we have special counsel available on the phone from the Nielsen Merximer firm. But from my notes show that from map 2, version 2, District 4 would have 50.4% Latino representation. District 5 would have 61.18. On map 3, version 2, District 4 would have 50.74, and District 5 would have 63.43%. Chris Scannell, are you on the line?
I am. Yeah, in terms of the representation, keep in mind that these numbers are based on estimates, and so given how close they are to one another, they're materially the same.
Thank you.
Any more comments?
I love my Colonel Cook, but I'm going to respectfully disagree. And I'm going to disagree with my mayor from Fontana and with some of the comments that have been made from people I represent and value in Fontana. Look, when you're talking about a city having power and control and being united, that's why you have city boundaries. But our job up here, the 5 of us, is to represent unincorporated populations, because for the most part, the decisions that we make on this board don't affect residents of your city. We govern the county services that serve everybody in the county, but we don't make the decisions about your city laws. The county is not what makes Fontana a unique and distinct community from any other. You do that in the city. You make it distinct. Our job as a supervisor, and I came off the Fontana Council, so I know what it is to represent Fontana as a city and now at the county level. My concerns about the maps are to make sure that the unincorporated residents of San Bernardino County have good voices on this board, regardless of who the 5 people sitting here are. That the maps are drawn such that there is a significant enough unincorporated population in each district to make sure that unincorporated residents have their needs served up here. I believe that's accomplished in map 3 much more than in map 2. My concerns are not only about the Fontana issue, but even more so for the Rim of the World communities. Rim of the World not incorporated, but is a distinct community of interest. And it's a distinct community of interest from Big Bear, though they have the Big Bear area, which has unincorporated and incorporated, but they have distinct needs as well. And I think that people who live in the Rim, who came out 10 years ago and said they wanted to be in one district as the mountains, have come to understand the value of having 2 members on this board who represent rural mountain communities. I think there's a value to that. I would encourage my Fontana friends to also consider how much more valuable it is to your community to have not only 2 votes on this board, but 2 votes on SBCTA and 2 votes on Omnitrans and 2 built-in Friends of Fontana wherever you go. You get that in map 3, you don't get that in map 2. And I would also, well, I will leave it at that. Having been in both positions and having lived under a different version of these districts and lived under what's basically version 3 today, I think version 3 gives the best voice to our rural unincorporated residents, and that's what I will be supporting.
I will volley some of those points. So in our redistricting commission meetings, all 16 that took place, we heard from our mountain residents that they wanted to be one. So that I'm based on that public testimony for this. And we did go through the redistricting process. If we were going to adopt map 3, I'm not sure why we just wouldn't have adopted map 3 outright and why we went through the redistricting process to have the outside influence of not only the commissioners, but our public. So they did provide the 2 maps. That 3rd map was added late. The mount, I could make an argument for both sides, but our general public at those meetings came out and said that they wanted one voice for the mountain. So with that spirit in mind, that would be map 2. So thank you.
Joe, you got to weigh in here.
Yeah, no, sure. Thank you, Chairman. I know that, the 2 maps submitted, either one, for me personally, I don't have a problem representing either group. So either group's fine with me. I know some of the concerns that was brought in by the Black and Brown Coalition and MALDEF and some of the other things was making sure that 3 districts, had the CVAP for Latino community up to 3 districts. I think map 2 probably gets us closer to that, doesn't quite get us to it. I know that there's been a process that's been vetted out and a lot of respect to our commissioners who put in a lot of valuable time. They really worked closely on this. I know that I asked the questions last meeting. Did it meet all the legal ramifications? Did we follow all the processes? We did. So I don't have a problem with either map. I know that map 2 gets us closer to a higher CVAP for the Hispanic population. Those are just my thoughts, but I'm prepared to represent anybody and do the best job I can for no matter what map we adopt.
So the comments, looking for direction here.
I will make a motion that we move forward with map 2.
Any more discussion? Get a motion and second for map 2. All those in favor? Aye. And 1 nay? Okay, 4-1 map 2 at this point. Do we need any more directions besides include all of DeVore into map 2 point?
Can I have a little clarification on that with the DeVore change? Currently, DeVore is split between looks like the 5th district and the 3rd district. Did you want it included in the 3rd or in the 5th?
I think they just want to be together.
That's great.
Can you look at the deviation and the numbers and see which district it makes more sense to put them in?
So it looks like a total deviation. Oh, I'm not sure if I have deviation on this right here. Okay, this is 437,265, and then we have 430,650. So the reality is it would probably make a little more sense to put it in 3
So my other question for you is, are you including the rose-colored area that was not included, that's outside of both considerations right now? Because I think we heard Supervisor Rutherford say that the whole community wanted to be together.
Could you repeat the question? I'm not sure.
So
I
on the
understood.
map that I'm looking at in front of me, it's sort of the rose-colored area.
This area here?
Is that what we're talking about?
This is currently in District 3, and the area that is split is this area right over here, which is in District 5. And so then I think what is being asked is that I include this area into District 3
I would support that.
Just as long as they're all together?
altogether, right?
Yeah.
And I do have the boundaries provided by the county for the area of divorce, so I can make sure it's included completely.
And that is okay with the deviation between the two districts?
It won't markedly change it.
Okay,
It'll
thank
be
you.
a small change, but not a major change.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we voted out map 2 at this point with the small deviation change. We're going to have that come back with the one submitted yesterday afternoon with also a study on the December 7th meeting, correct?
Yes, Chairman.
That's it. No more comments. If that, we'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you all for, board comments, please do.
Many years ago, in a land far, far away, I was the most dangerous weapon in the United States Marine Corps. That's a second lieutenant with a map and a compass. Now, time has come forward, and I am the most, once again, I am the most dangerous supervisor because of a map, maybe, perhaps. But I want to compliment all the my colleagues. And this is a very, very difficult process, and it's not over yet. So let's hang on, let's work together, do the best we can, and hopefully we won't miss Christmas. Thank you.
Colonel, I think you need to get a car with very big gas mileage because you got a lot of territory in that district of yours. Thank you all for attending today. Appreciate it.